A lot of the content on the internet makes it seem as if this one specific exercise variation is the key to your missing gains. And I think we all know that in reality, that's probably not the case. While it is true that a new exercise might click for your specific unique biomechanics in a way that another variation doesn't at all, that's probably more the exception than the rule. For me, for example, the first time I tried Zercher squats, it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh, this is what squatting is supposed to feel like, but I never get that when I'm back squatting. And the resulting enthusiasm that it gave me really revamped my training. But this type of thing is pretty rare, I think. Generally speaking, most exercise variations have different pros and cons and are best thought of as tools in your arsenal to use at various different times rather than one being the best and the others being the worst. That said, I do think it's a legitimate mental hack to utilize exercise selection and swap between different variations in order to spice up your training. Also, is it just me or does this adjustable dumbbell microphone go hard? Yeah, yeah. So specifically in this video, I'm talking about swapping out different exercises that occupy the same niche in your workout. So think of like a squat pattern. You could have the back squat, the front squat, the Zercher squat, a split squat. All of these present their own unique stimulus, but at the end of the day, they're all going to train your legs. Before we get into the mental aspect, let's at least address the physiological aspect first. Presenting your body with a novel stimulus is a surefire way to kickstart your gains if you've been going through a plateau. You'll probably already have a decent level of strength from your previous training, but the new movement patterns will expose a different weakness and force your body to adapt. So playing with exercise variation can be effective from purely a physiological standpoint. But I think the mental and mindset power is even more powerful. So no matter who you are, I think it's safe to assume that your goals in training, whether they're for health, for performance, or aesthetics, these goals will take you many years and many training cycles to achieve. And if they don't, I'd encourage you to dream bigger. You're capable of more than you think. And so staying consistent and building momentum over the long term is paramount to your success in this. And don't get me wrong, some people just love grinding it out day after day, week after week, year after year with the exact same exercises. And that can work really well, to be honest. Some people love eating the same meals day after day, year after year. I know that's me. But if that isn't you, then using variations in your training can add some much needed spice to your workouts. Not only is the very act of performing these different exercises fun and exciting while it's new, but it also becomes very easy to see progress. And the reason for that is very simple because they're not in your training log already. You don't already have established rep maxes and levels of performance. And so no matter what you do, you're going to be setting rep PRs in the first month of training. If you've tested your 1 rep max 10 times in the overhead press over the last couple years, it's going to be pretty hard to hit an 11th 1 rep max in that same exercise. The mental pressure to do so can also be quite overwhelming at times. On the other hand, if you've never trained the behind the neck press or the push press, you'll already have a decent level of strength from all the overhead pressing you've already practiced, and that strength is just poised, ready to be applied to this new skill. And because you don't know what your max performance in these exercises is, you're not going to have mental barriers holding you back either. So hitting your first 1 rep max in these will be really, really easy, and your second as well, even if they're actually really close to your actual strength max. These exercises just simply won't have the same mental pressure around them, and that can be quite refreshing if you have a couple years of training under your belt. And the great part about rotating through exercise variations is that it doesn't just work once. Sure, after 3 months of training a new exercise, you'll have more accurate rep maxes and performance metrics in your training log, and your progress might have slowed down a bit. But if you then put that exercise on hold for the next 3 months and work on a different variation, you'll be able to come back to that exercise and probably hit a no practice PR. This is where you come back to an old variation that you haven't been practicing, but because you're stronger from the training you've been doing, you're able in your very first session to hit a new rep max. And this feels amazing and is just so good for the mental game to give yourself wins like this. Sometimes I even find these more rewarding than the actual end of training cycle PBs I hit because they're indicative of like the general qualities that I'm building. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to get strong for life, not just to improve my lifts. I'm trying to move better and have a body that's more robust and energetic in order to play in abundance and not get tuckered out and beat down all the time. A final way you can utilize exercise variations is not just from month to month, from training cycle to training cycle, but within one workout week as well. For example, I like to have 2 upper body training sessions per week, But I'll program out 2 completely different upper body days per week with different exercise variations, so each of them feels fresh and exciting when I do it. So currently my upper body day 1 is the Arnold dumbbell press, neutral grip pull-ups, ring dips, and reverse dip shrugs. And then day 2 is one arm dumbbell overhead press, weighted neutral grip pull-ups, incline barbell bench press, and hammer bar rows. Both workouts have 2 pushing exercises and 2 pulling exercises, so there's tons of carryover in terms of muscular stimulus, but there's more opportunities in the week to hit new PBs in performance and build momentum. And the variety of 2 completely different training days is just a breath of fresh air. All right, folks, that's all for today. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.